that music.
He's not a bat, he's a man who fights crime. And we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time. With John and Niall and a guest who doesn't rhyme. It's Bat Minute!
Hello and welcome once again to Bat Minute Returns, the show that swarms all over Tim Burton's Batman Returns, 1 minute at a time. I am one of your hosts, John Parker.
And I am the other one, swinging wildly towards the content here, Niall McGowan.
Hello.
Hey.
It's Friday. Whoop. And to celebrate, we are joined once more by our very, very special guest. He is a movie maestro. He's a podcasting mastermind. I couldn't think of alliteration there. We have Omar Najam.
Hello, everyone.
Hey. We will edit in some better alliteration.
I thought it was perfect. I was thinking of hopping in with a My Babies. But I stopped myself but I'll save it for a clutch moment later in this episode.
I think we should just sign off every remaining episode now with My Babies!
My Babies!
So this is minute 111, all the ones.
Wow.
And the minute starts with a fencing masterclass, and it ends with the destruction of an ice cap, apparently.
Going to say there'll be former guest Jessie Milestone will be appalled to see the Penguins form here, because I believe that's how she makes her living, as a fencing instructor.
Yeah, this is a bit like how, for those 3 weeks I did fencing once, this is how I fenced. Just lunged at people wildly.
Although I think Polly Preston was also into fencing as well. I was like, maybe it's a bigger sport than I recall.
No, I did it because I was at school and they were offering that class, and the girl I rather liked was in the class, so I was like, I'm gonna switch and do that. But look, unfortunately, the first day I showed up, she was like, "Oh, this is my last day here. I'm doing a different class now."
Oh man,
like no.
I do know also in a random bit of trivia that Academy Award nominee Greta Gerwig is apparently a world-class fencer. Oh. Apparently she could have gone pro, but chose not to. Just a random bit of info I remembered hearing somewhere down the line there.
With sword or with umbrella?
Well, but you assume if you were that good, you could do both, really. But
I mean, the real talent is shown via umbrella.
I mean, we all know, John, what it all comes down to is, who's holding the umbrella.
Exactly. So, that's going on a new T-shirt. We're going to have to come up. We don't do a lot of T-shirts. We've only got a couple. We need to come up with more. That's going to be one. But anyway, we'll actually talk about the rest of what's going on here. So yes, we're back with the Penguin, lunging at Batman wildly. And I think this totally fits his fighting style to me. Like, I don't want to see any finesse from this dude. Just unbridled rage.
I guess in that regard, this is another aspect of the Batman Rogues Gallery always being a kind of counterpoint to Batman himself. Yeah. Whereas, like we talked about earlier in the movie, obviously, like the Penguin's kind of like he's what Bruce Wayne could have been. Like, Bruce Wayne's parents didn't abandon him; they raised him, loved him, they instilled in him good moral values when they were around. So much so that after their death, he now goes on this quest for justice and revenge and whatnot.
Yeah.
But as the Penguins guy, he could have also been raised by a loving, rich family, but they didn't. They abandoned him. They threw him out altogether. So I guess, and the other counterpart is that one's fighting style here is to be cool, calm, collected, really know what he's doing ahead of time, and it just never seems to break his cool. And yet the other guy's is just just constantly swinging, hoping maybe he might succeed somehow.
Swinging umbrella. Yeah, that's the technique. Yeah.
That's great because he is so angry here and so almost scared that he's actually completely ineffective. But it's fantastic. I wouldn't want him any other way. He should not be doing like martial arts or something.
I will give him more props though for at least trying.
Yes. He didn't hesitate for a second.
Yeah. It's just like, I am doing the best I can here. Yeah. Okay.
That's admirable in a way. In his point of view, he's standing up to a bully.
Yeah. Well, he broke the. We're still mad at Batman about the duck.
Yep.
We're still mad at Batman about the duck.
The final scene of the movie should be Bruce just welding it back together.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes.
For the kids at the new zoo that he's financed.
Well, that could have been a thing had they kept it ongoing, where we know in the comic books that Batman is a collector of things. Like, he has the giant coin from that time. Two-Face tried to kill him with the giant coin. He has a big dinosaur thing. Tim Burton could have done that. Had he continued making them, the duck could just be sitting there as a trophy in the Batcave. Like, yeah, that's when I fought the Penguin, and I took that duck home.
That'd be great. And it's so impractical to keep, but it's fantastic, because his house is big enough. Come on. He's got loads
just
of
saying
weird
to Alfred
crap.
too, like, oh, Alfred, put that duck back together. Like,
we don't have space.
Now, chop, get to it.
Yeah.
there goes my Christmas days up.
Right.
I love the way as well you got, just before Penguin eats the dirt, you have Batman still holding on to this beeping gadget.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost as if it's just to taunt the Penguin. Like, he's not putting it down and fighting. He's like, nope, here's this thing.
100%. He's just like, I know you know this isn't good. That's it. You just had this sense, like, you see your penguin babies, and you know that something bad is going to happen, and I'm just living in this moment.
It's quite sadistic, actually.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
That's not needed, Bats.
Because we are like approaching a thing we kind of alluded to in the last minute there. We have the great moment where like the Penguin comes and then he just breaks his blade like when trying to hit Batman, and then he has a great comical moment where he kind of like the both of them kind of look at the the broken umbrella, and then he just whacks the thing out of Batman's hand. But yeah, then we get to this thing. Okay, so here's my main question for what's happening in this minute. What is the Penguin's understanding of this device? Because when he clicks it off, what does he think is going to happen?
Well, he thinks it's going to just make the Penguins docile. I think they're not controlled.
Yeah. Does he think they're going to reverse and go back out into the streets?
Well, just chill out. They're not going to do anything bad to him. They might not achieve their original mission, but Batman's clearly going to be using them for something here, and it'll stop that in his mind.
In some way, that makes sense. But it's like I was also thinking, is he also just planning to not blow up the zoo for some reason? He's like, I'll take down both of us.
No, I actually had an interesting take on this because, if I do say so myself, because when he presses the button, they shoot instead of like deactivating it, and they just wander off, which is what you assume is going to happen. Now, I've said a few times, I believe that the Penguins don't turn on their leader, and I do still think that. But what I found interesting was you could read this as Batman's use of the mind control was almost preventing them from turning on him. Like, maybe the Penguins were planning to turn on him all along. Like, they've had enough, like the gang. They've had enough. And Batman kind of is... he's tricking the Penguin into pressing it.
Right.
Because this Batman is devious.
Yes.
I do, yeah. That was one of my other questions. Like, is this part of Batman's plan? That's why, like, when the Penguin's coming for him, he doesn't put it down out of the way.
Yeah.
He's like, I want you to come for this, because when you do, it's gonna all the rockets are gonna fire, because I believe that you're an idiot and you're gonna push that button even though you don't know what it does.
Yeah, it's exactly what he does too, to be fair.
Yeah, he's like, please give it, it's fine. I'll quit. I'll turn back. I'll reverse the entire plan that I've got. Just hand it to me. Trust me. The zoo's so expensive. We can't do this. And Batman's like, no, I have a pretty good idea. I know what's happening.
You're right. The zoo is a nice space as well. It's expensive. It's a nice area. Someone needs
There's
to do
animals.
This place up.
Yeah.
I also wonder, though, at this point, I was like, does Bruce Wayne also own like a demolition company? And he's like, this will save me a bit of money too if I just get these penguins to blow up the whole place, because we're going to demolish the zoo anyway.
It's a tricksy business move.
That's how you stay rich. You cut the corners when you can.
You get penguins to fire rockets at things, like all successful rich people.
But should note at this point, and this is actually again much like we waited almost the entirety of the movie to talk about other people who almost played the Penguin. This is another note that I've sort of been hanging on to for quite a while, and it kind of becomes more relevant now.
Oh.
One of the main things people will know about Batman Returns trivia is hooked into this fact as well. In the original Dan Waters draft, all this went down very differently. In that Batman returned to visit the character of the Kid before trying to intercept the Penguins.
Yeah.
Omar, you wouldn't know, but earlier in the movie, when the Penguin took over the Batmobile, Batman managed to get a little bit of control back, took it into a body shop, and there was a character there working just called the Kid, who was like a kind of wisecracking sidekick of sorts to Batman for this one scene. And he had a mysterious R on his overalls. And we're like, what's that going to be about? But in that scene, the Kid also swiped a little souvenir from the Batmobile. And Batman's come back now going like, I need that Scrambler that you took. And the Kid's like, what are you talking about? I didn't take anything. So like, the Scrambler, I need you to do this for me. And basically what happens with the Penguins is that they successfully start launching missiles in Gotham City, and there's actual people about, unlike the empty Gotham Square we get in the finished movie. And they destroy a couple of buildings. But then the Kid comes with the Scrambler, intercepts the signal, and then on his bike, he leads the Penguins to kind of like the Pied Piper. Like, actually kind of like what the Penguin was planning to do with the kids.
Right.
Like, I'm going to Pied Piper them into the gunk, the sewer gunk.
Yeah.
The Kid actually lures all the Penguins back to the zoo, and then the things kind of go off. And much like then the Penguins end up launching and destroying the zoo and whatnot and everything. But we also then get a little interaction with the Kid. I'll just pull up the exact scripting here, so I can read what's.
I'm worried.
Yeah, but it's just Batman jumps out of the ski boat, and then the Kid flips him over the Scrambler and says like, "Oh, I guess I won't be needing to borrow the Scrambler anymore, at least not for a while. We save the city or what?" And Batman says, "Getting there. I owe you 2 now." Kind of like friggin' like a reverse Han Solo there for a second, and then says, "Got a name?" And then the Kid says, "Yeah, but I like to be called Robin." And then Batman says, "Nice name. Oh, Robin." And then when Batman turns back around, the Kid, Robin, is gone.
Oh, great.
Batman smiles at the utilization of one of his own traits. Losing the smile, Batman fires up the grapple to a high echelon of the roller coaster track and swooshes upward. But that's kind of like, remember in The Dark Knight Rises when Catwoman does it to him, and he's like, "Oh, so that's what that feels like." It's a stupid movie. It's a stupid move in that movie, and it would have been stupid there as well, considering that the Kid is just some random kid.
Yeah, I when you first said it, I kind of liked it, but like, why and how would he be doing that?
Then it's like, oh, he mysteriously also has Batman's secret ninja sneaking off while people are talking to him power.
That doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, I guess so. With that information out there of who the Kid was supposed to be, I guess now comes the part where we relieve you, the little people, of the burden of holding on to this bit of trivia that you all know already. Of course, the Kid was formally cast in the movie and even had a costume fitting. The part of Robin was supposed to be played by Marlon Wayans. Quite infamously, he was successfully cast until they just decided that there's too many characters in the movie, and so they cut him. But apparently, he got paid for the part, unlike Billy D. Williams. That was always the rumor with Billy D, was that he got paid to play Two-Face in Batman Forever because he was under contract. We found out since from doing the first season that is not true. Billy D says, like, I was never paid for that. But apparently, Marlon Wayans has said he still gets residual checks.
That's insane.
from not being in Batman Returns. I mean, which is pretty sweet.
he is certainly a different, interesting choice for the character. But I would worry the tone. I don't necessarily want him to be playing Robin. It seems like it would be too, like they're going for jokes and things like that.
Yeah. I guess at the time, it's like, Marlon Wayans can be good, but it's very few and far between if you look at his IMDb. Like, he'd just come off, actually, weirdly enough, his first part was in I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker, which is, long-term Batman listeners will recall, was one of the ads on the start of the VHS copy of Batman that I used to own way back when.
Bloody hell, that's going back, isn't it?
But, so he can do something. He's in Requiem for a Dream, and he's great in it. But then that's just like, oh yeah, but that's after years and years of like Scary Movie and all that kind of like, white chicks and all this sort of stuff where you're like, yeah, this guy, I don't know.
You know what I find fascinating about Scary Movie, right? It was such a big phenomena. Like, it was huge. Everybody apparently loved it. But now, you'd be hard-pressed to find anybody who likes it. I think it has not aged well at all.
No, I didn't. I hated it at the time, and I think now because it is directly spoofing things that are zeitgeist of the moment.
Yeah,
like back then, doesn't land now. Where like coming in and making fun of like, oh hey, remember that show Paris Hilton made with Nicole Richie? Like, oh yeah, kinda, but not really. Like, hey, remember Signs? Like, yeah, that was a big movie a couple of years, like about 12 years ago or even longer. Like, but we're still in that.
It's and the humor's not really held up. I didn't particularly like it either. It's not my kind of jokes, but I got people liked it. I think you'd struggle to find fans now.
Yeah, but I mean, you never know. Marlon Wayans could have been a great Robin. You never know, but. Of course, we'll talk more about next year because he actually was supposed to be contracted in for Batman Forever as well, and we'll talk about that when we get to it. But he has said that I get why they picked Chris O'Donnell because it would be messed up to have Batman and you've got Robin and his bowl just somewhat bigger than Batman's. Oh. I think Batman would have a serious problem with that. It's like, it's always taking it to the toilet, aren't you?
Interesting.
That makes me okay with the switch. At first, I was going to say it's typical Hollywood whitewashing, but now I'm like, no, you piece of crap. That's
and of course, though, should also say that like the inclusion of Robin was under a bit of duress. It was more of a studio mandated thing because Dan Waters himself has called Robin the most worthless character in the world, especially with Batman as the loner of loners. Yeah. So he very much did not want to put the character in the movie, and I'm guessing was probably quite happy when they took him out.
Yeah,
but
I personally prefer Batman working solo. I don't really get the Robin thing personally.
No, it doesn't. I'm trying to think of a comic book story where I've been like, this really, really benefits from, unless it's like a thing where it's like, isn't it crazy that Batman has to work with a kid?
Yeah.
Because like there are like, especially some of the Frank Miller stories where you're just like, yeah, it is pretty nuts that like Batman has to like go kick it with a kid. And that's the gimmick. But that is an ongoing trope. It's a little hard for me to 100% understand unless he's like, I'm training up the next superhero and now Nightwing exists. But it's not like Batman and Nightwing are best friends forever. It's like, all right, now go start the Teen Titans. Like it feels a little bit like that. Whereas like them together, I'm like, I don't know. Even with All Star, I was like, I don't quite see it.
I'm glad I'm not alone. I'm probably going to get a lot of angry listeners there writing in.
I don't know. I think like a lot of people do have a general disparaging treatment of Robin. I'm not a big fan of the character either. Although there are like something like Dark Victory, like the Jeff Loeb, Tim Sale, the sequel to The Long Halloween. That's got a very good Robin origin in it because it is facing like you really get into why Batman would want someone else with him and stuff. And
if there's more, I think Robin works really well when it's Bat Family, when you've got like a whole spread of Bat characters. And then I feel like it clicks into place because you're like, oh, this is just like a general community that Batman has formed. When it's just the two and it's like the Super Friends kind of thing, that's when I'm like, why not? Why'd you stop at one though?
Yeah, it doesn't fit his personality to have just like he would either go all out or not do it.
Exactly. He doesn't seem like Aquaman. Like Curry definitely seems like someone who's just like, all right, one more, but that's it. Like I don't want to have to worry about like many other folks. Batman does not seem like that. Batman's just like, look, I've got a giant cave. I live in it. I've got a giant penny. Let's have all like the Bat people possible. Let's just do this.
Oh, that sounds like we need a bit like we had Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, but we need one for Batman.
Yeah. Oh, that's so true.
Because like I absolutely loved Into the Spider-Verse, but I remember listening to Kevin Smith's review of it, and he's just like, why aren't they doing some crazy animated Batman movie like this? And I was like, dude, the Lego Batman movie was just out last year. Like, you completely forgot about it. That was Into the Spider-Verse before friggin' Into the Spider-Verse.
Which had the people. It's had like a lot of the same people working on it.
Yeah.
I suppose unfairly, people dismiss it because it's a Lego movie. They're like, oh, it's great, but it's a Lego movie.
But so where are we in the minute? Because the minute is mostly now just like, oh no, we haven't yet to get to the
button push.
The button push.
We're just up to the button push.
Right, because I had a question about that.
Yes.
Right, so the button gets pushed.
Yes.
And the penguins react, but also at the same time, a swarm of bats emerge from the Batmobile.
Yeah, I
has
Batman
about that
done
as well. Something like that I've missed? Because how, why? Like, what's the logistics of this? Does he keep them in the back of the car all the time? What's going on?
I think maybe if you were to take this to Batman has pre-planned kind of all of this. Like he's there like I'm gonna confront the Penguin, even though I don't really know that was always his game plan, because I guess he was planning to confront them in the sewers. Yeah, and this is kind of like a handy dandy I've put this together kind of thing. But because this is kind of using the Penguin's own plan back at him, in that not only is he launching his own rockets at his home instead of the city, but as you recall as well, part of Penguin's ploy to defame Batman was when killed the Ice Princess, all these bats came out of the Christmas tree. So it's kind of like Batman's like, oh, you like using bats in your plan, do you? I got a whole bunch of them back here, and they're gonna fly in your goddamn face off.
Maybe it's like maybe it's sort of like a your animals versus my animals sort of thing, where it's just like, like I like what you did with the penguins. I too have a bit. And then it kind of got like a little bit like out of hand, where he was just like, "Oh wait, no bats! You weren't supposed to fly." Oh no! Oh, and now he's now he fell through the glass.
That'd be great if Batman just sneaks off now because he doesn't want to get caught.
Like, ew, yikes!
Sorry about that.
I really wish that had been Batman's chat-up line to Catwoman, though. It's like, I notice you have a thing for cats. I too have a bit. You like all my bat stuff? Bat's close to cat, right? She's like rolling her eyes, like, get the hell away from me.
I'm Catwoman. Oh, that's really funny. I'm Batman.
I mean, I guess we've got so much in common.
But yeah, the bats, because the bats fly. Is it like activated by like sort of like a high-pitched like sound from the device?
That's a very good multi-purpose device, if so.
Yeah, but you got to be real careful with it.
Yeah, Jesus.
I guess, is it also like, it could be that he just has a little thing of bats in an open case,
as you do, you know.
Yeah, but is it like the high pitched squeal of the rockets going? That's what like scares the bats, and then they all come flying out. Or is it like keeping an open case of bats seems impractical? You think you'd need to have them. You would have to have a release on a thing to go, okay, release the bats.
That's what, and they seem very directed, like they are specifically attacking the Penguin.
Yeah. I don't know. It's tough to know. Really, what exactly is that? It could be that Batman was just going, I need more bats for the cave, and he just randomly was going out collecting bats earlier, and now he sees this. I was like, oh no, the bats! Oh damn it, I lost them all.
I'm gonna have to round them all up again.
It's like what actually happens after like. All the stuff with Catwoman and stuff and the dead Max Shrek is just like the rest of the final act of the movie was Batman with a butterfly net up trying to catch all these bats and stuff. It's like, oh, there's not enough in the cave. I need more, damn it.
Well, as we hinted at as well, the bats distract the Penguin. He's fighting them off, and he falls through the glass roof of the zoo here, of the Arctic World section. And hits the water relatively gently, I'll be honest.
Yeah,
considering
not too bad.
Yeah. And the Penguins continue firing their rockets, which, okay, right, it's taking the zoo out.
Mm-hmm.
But in the grand scheme of things, I don't feel they're doing a lot, these rockets, because this was supposed to be the arsenal that's going to destroy the city of Gotham.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, or are we to assume that this isn't all the Penguins? Maybe some of them Batman's let go.
Interesting.
Because
I think
this
it's all.
doesn't seem like
I want to
enough.
say it's all. But it doesn't seem like enough. It is a crazy sequence though, because even Batman is like, "Oh, whoops!" Like, there's a look on his face at one point where like something blows up right next to him, and he was just like, "Did not think this through. Did not realize that the Penguins would go haywire. Really banked a lot on the Penguin responsibility and ability to handle these explosive devices."
Yeah, they weren't properly trained. Let's be honest.
No, they were not. They were not.
We'll also say, though, just for the sake of completion, we alluded last week to the whole thing with the Penguin rockets being a reference to the actually quite recently released storylines, The Penguin Affair.
Mhm.
And the actual thing of the Batman bringing back the Penguins to the Penguin's lair and then setting off rockets and whatnot. That is also in The Penguin Affair. But the actual thing of the Penguin kind of being afraid of bats and bats swarming around him is a thing from like old school DC comics. Like that was one of the frequent things they used to do to defeat the Penguin.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things, if you look at the panels, it's like, oh, it's the same panel. It's the same exact freaking drawing of like him just getting constantly barraged with penguin or by bats and stuff. I guess it's supposed to be ironic because it's like the Penguin loves birds, but I guess because bats are mammals, so he doesn't like them.
Yeah, they're imposters.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, oh no. So it's been alluded to in the comics, the old school Golden Age comics, that the Penguin was scared of bats. So I would take it that's supposed to be like a little reference there, because you considering as well, like he's really freaking out when these bats go for him.
Well,
Yes.
wouldn't you?
I don't know if I'd freak out that much. I think what my instinct would be to crouch down rather than back up into, going through a freaking window. But
Yeah, it's kind of like if I don't move, they can't do more damage. Like if I run around, it's going to exacerbate the situation. But it's almost like an instant like statue sort of moment. I'm just like,
Duck
all
and
right,
cover.
I'm.
I actually really like in this part of the strict revised draft. The writing for this section with the rocket barrage is great. The way it's worded is fantastic to me, and I mean that sincerely. I know sometimes we make fun of the draft, but it says the grand panorama of rotten zoo cages and decayed expo texture is mightily laid to glorious waste in a symphony of fireballs. Yeah,
Very
that's good
good.
writing.
That's not bad at all.
it's like what Wesley Strick was like, oh yeah, I'm feeling poetic today.
Yeah, I just listened to some classical music.
And other days he's just like, penguin fall down into sewer.
Well, we know his forte seems to be these kind of things, not dialogue.
Right.
His dialogue tends to be far too wordy throughout the whole movie. So thank God it got changed. No offense to you, Wesley.
But of course, we do get these like the kind of finishing of the minute is just like a barrage of explosions just hitting the zoo. Like all those cool things we saw earlier, all getting blown up.
Aww.
It's again much as just the want of a Batman movie. He's like, yeah, he's got a cool vehicle. Let's destroy it.
Right, exactly.
Like, oh, we made this cool zoo set or models or whatever. It's like, let's blow them up.
Like, no, I appreciate what you're thinking, but it's all got to go. We can't. The rent on it is going to cost us more. So
maybe that is the legitimate reason. They're like, well, we need to get rid of it. Let's go out on a high. Let's just do something awesome.
It's always my feeling. I don't know if we ever mentioned it to. I don't know if you know Omar, but one of our other returning guests is Ralph from TV's Cake Boss. He's been on the show twice now.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah, but one of the things, I don't actually watch Cake Boss, but I've seen that type of show, and I've seen people make these like amazing cakes.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that always bugs me about it is like, because you're making this thing, but it's fleeting. Like this cake is going to someone, and they're going to cut into it and eat it.
Yeah,
and that's all that effort you put in is gone. And I guess you could say it's like, well, is that not the tragedy of the cake maker? Where You could put so much, or even the tragedy of the gourmands in general, where you're like, oh, I put so much effort into all this beautiful, fantastic food, but then it's gone.
Yeah. Some people, that's the appeal, though. You know, they. I know someone who does photography in his spare time, and he largely will post things on like Facebook, leave them for a day, and then delete them. And I was like, why do you do that? He's like, oh, I want it to be fleeting. Everything's fleeting.
Is that the guy who was posted that feeling cute might delete later? I don't know. That's the meme of the moment. I'm seeing everyone's posting memes about that for some reason.
Even
specifically
I did today,
this weekend. Well, the thing is, with all the and not to poo-poo the good people of Cake Boss, but a lot of the grand crafting cakes, I always feel it is more presentation. That like I don't know that they're all that fussed about the way it tastes. Particularly because a lot of it's going to be like, oh, there's like 5 layers of icing to get towards anything else. So, yeah.
I'm not really into icing, but the cakes they make on that look amazing. So I'm kind of torn.
The thing is, like, they look amazing, but are you saying they look amazing in that, yes, the thing they have created is amazing looking, or are you saying it looks like a tasty cake?
No, the cake itself would be tasty, and visually it looks amazing. Icing, I don't find that tasty.
No.
I don't get it. I prefer like a frosting, a cream.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe it's because of a nostalgia thing, but you used to be able to get in our bakery in Strabane, my hometown. It was your birthday cake. Everyone got because it was the one bakery in the town was a bog standard sponge cake that had white icing on it and little blue roses.
Oh, okay. That piped on, yeah.
You know, doesn't get any bluer. And my memory of those is like they were the greatest cakes of all time, but they were mostly icing as well was the thing. But icing and sponge and cream, that was it. Whereas now, like I know nowadays, people offer me birthday cake now, and I'm like, I always take free cake because why wouldn't you? But even it could be the fanciest cake in the world, but I'll always be like, it's nothing on those like £5 cakes you used to get for your birthday like when I was a kid.
That's because you've been suckered into thinking that way. You need to break the cycle.
Liberate yourself. Much like the penguins are liberating themselves of these crazy missiles.
Maybe that's what it is. They're not causing any harm deliberately. They're like, I just want rid of this thing. It's annoying.
Yeah, they're just like, it's really heavy.
It could be, again, it might legitimately be, if you want to look into, again, much like we talked about in the Dan Waters draft, apparently there are penguin elders that the penguin, Oswald Cobblepot, the penguin, he seeks advice from. There's these 4 penguins that come out and he reveres them almost like they're kind of like his pope, basically. And he asks them for advice and stuff. So if you were to take the penguins are more sentient.
Yes.
What could actually be happening here is that they have been controlled by Oswald Cobblepot. Batman, Oswald, what he's done here is actually, he has released them from their, Caligari-esque, forced sleepwalk slumber. And out of resentment, what they're doing is like, oh, that asshole, he brainwashed us. Let's fire the rockets at him. Like, it could be, if you want to look at it, it could be like, you betrayed us, Oswald. You turned us into your puppets. And now we're launching the payload back on you out of spite.
Right. Oh, interesting.
That's upsetting again. This week's upsetting.
Yeah, I will say that because we're bringing up so many questions about this final act. Because a lot of people really poo-pooed the final act of the first movie because they're like, oh, but even Jack Nicholson was like going like, why am I going up these stairs and stuff like this? And a lot of people are like, oh, yeah, it's disastrous because they were rewriting the final act as they were going and stuff. But I think that actually stands more solid. It's like, yeah, the Joker did a thing, and now he needs to get in the helicopter, but he needs to go up to the top of the cathedral to get out of there.
Yep.
That makes sense to me, but none of this really does. It's kind of like, so Batman was planning to go confront him in the sewer, and he had a bunch of bats, but then he went up and crashed his boat into the penguin's boat, and now he was hoping he would do this thing, so all the penguins would fire rockets at him, but he also has these bats somewhere, for some reason, in the back as well. And we don't know if that's part of the thing or it's not part of the thing. It's like it's all over the damn place.
Oh man, that's so good. Batman pulls out like a to-do list and just checks off all the boxes and goes, another one well executed. This really worked out.
It's like, what I really don't need is any goddamn complications where like Catwoman shows up or something, and that's really gonna throw off my groove.
Oh, don't tempt fate. Who knows what might happen?
In the very next minute.
Oh,
no doubt as well.
Very true.
Well, spoilers. Spoilers.
But yeah, I guess we are at the end of the minute here. So
well, there's a tiny little bit, I suppose. You see Max and the monkey now. Not a
Oh,
euphemism,
yes, sorry. Yeah.
can I point out? And Max steals the keys from the monkey so he can get out of his cage. So my question is, what exactly was the monkey doing by going over to the cage anyway? Like, he obviously wasn't going to free Max. He looks shocked when the keys are stolen off him.
Yeah.
So is it just he was scared and just retreating?
I think so.
That's all I can think, because he goes over to the cage and then he's like, oh, you stole them from me. How dare you?
Because Max was waving that white handkerchief at him. So maybe, I don't know, maybe there's a cut subplot of like, oh, Max and the monkey have beef. We're like, yeah, they've been at war with each other since the first time he was in the sewers. And now Max was like, oh, pretending like, oh no, white flag. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like, oh no, come over, we'll talk this stuff out. And then he swipes the keys, like, I always hated you, you goddamn monkey. And then and that's why the monkey's so shocked. He's like, I thought we were buddies again, Max. Like, no, to hell with you, kid.
Oh, bless.
I do wonder though, cause, one of the stories we brought up, talking about Danny DeVito's encounters with this monkey. I don't know if you know, Omar, but that's Danny DeVito's main memory from making the movie is that his one scene with the monkey is that the monkey was so scared of his makeup. It leapt at Danny DeVito's crotch and apparently took out a significant chunk of the rubber.
Thank God he had that suit on.
Yeah, the thing is, he had that suit on. Chris Walken doesn't. So
right,
he just
exactly. This is a heavy gamble.
Took Danny DeVito's out laughing about that, so I was like, "Oh my god, I almost lost the family jewels there to that monkey." And then Chris Walken's on the same talk show, like, "Yeah, I actually did."
Oh. No, Walken is confident in his ability to control a monkey.
And the monkey was gonna do that, and he just gave him that like wedding crasher stare.
Oh.
Don't mess with me. I'm a very powerful man. The monkey's like, all right, here, take the keys.
Oh, no. The only other thing I had was as the bombardment of Arctic World continues, it's basically, it's done now. It's over. There's no stopping this destruction. What will happen to these penguins? Like, this is their home. If they are still being mind controlled at this point, like I speculate, it's possible. I don't believe it, but it's possible. Then that's a bit nasty of Batman, making them blow up their own home. Like, what are they going to do now?
Yeah, where are they going to go?
Yeah, I thought, it'd be nice if Bruce bought the land and opened a new zoo, and there's no indication he's going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You never know. Maybe he cranks the AC in the Batcave. He builds a little penguin sanctuary.
Oh, yeah.
They can come and go as he's got like a free flow of water coming in there. It's like, yeah, go in, swim out there, go out and forage if they need to and stuff. And you never know with it. I would like to think that Bruce is like, he's good enough to be like, yeah, I'll take the penguins under my wing, as it were.
No, knowing this Bruce, he'll set them all on fire with the Batmobile's engine.
That is true, actually. So it's like, Alfred, we are going to be inundated with penguin meat. So you crack open the cookbook because you're going to be needing to come up with some goddamn new recipes. He's still smarting from the vichyssoise. Like, if you ever present me a goddamn cold soup again, Alfred, I've given you about 50 friggin' penguins. I want no cold soup, all right?
I can't join you in eating penguin meat on the air, being a vegetarian, but, let me know how it is.
Obviously, can you get we'll have to look into for the finale limoncello just to get any kind of it, because apparently the Danny DeVito one is not available anymore. And see, is penguin meat available? Because it seems like everyone,
they're
society's got
endangered,
that level,
aren't they?
Oh yeah, that might have been, maybe that's scupper that idea. You find out they're endangered. It's like, oh, people used to love penguin meat. That was the whole reason they almost went extinct.
Well, that's why a lot of animals, have had problems with that. Charles Darwin may be famous for, all his theories and his travels and his writing, but he also quite infamously was a member of a club of people who would deliberately seek out and eat strange animals.
Oh, yeah.
So a lot of these animals he discovered, he would then eat.
That used to be part of Josie Long's set, where she's like, I'm reading from the diary of Charles Darwin, and she'd just go on a long description of like, oh, I saw this beautiful creature coming up out of the sea, and it scurried across the land. It was graceful and beautiful, so I ate it. Yeah. And then just go into everything else. It's like, this beautiful bird flew down from the sky.
That's literally what he did. Yeah, he would like, oh, look at this panther. I'm going to kill it and eat it. It looks wonderful.
That's the thing, though. All of society would have done that at some point. Like way back when people were like discovering horses and stuff, would have been like, "You're gonna have to eat this thing to see." Like, somehow word got out, like, "Oh no, you don't want to eat that horse."
Yeah,
like,
not that one. How do you know? Don't ask. We're not going to talk about that.
You can't eat that horse. That's Spirit.
Spirit's down in the Cimarron. How dare you? Or Spirit's possible son, also named Spirit.
No, I hate to tell you, Omar, but because I'm currently living in a house that has we have a 1-year-old downstairs, and so some evenings I put on the TV for him and stuff, and because all of Spirit is on.
Oh yeah, the
Netflix
DreamWorks show on Netflix. Yeah.
And I've watched an episode or two with him, and I hate to say it, but it's pretty awful.
Oh, you don't like that plot about the making pies in high elevation? That didn't lure you in?
Tragically, I don't think I got to that episode.
That amazing metaphor that I can't remember how it pans out.
I was so thankful that the kid seemed to not be into it. I was like, oh my God. To be fair, he still is at like Sesame Street level, so maybe Spirit's too sophisticated for him just now, but...
Pre-K is such an interesting like juggle of like what do kids retain and what don't they retain. It's so it's so interesting. I feel like this minute is definitely like universal. No matter what age you're at, you're like, I got it. It all makes sense. The penguins have rockets. The bats comes out of the cars. It all
well, we know that bit doesn't make sense, but otherwise, I agree.
Monkeys are jumping on cages with keys. It's all. I don't even know if this is like a minute that stands alone. Like if you see this, you're like, I've got the entire movie.
If you're going to watch 1 minute, watch this one.
Yes, exactly. It's got everything you'd want out of this film.
I don't know if that could be a series on YouTube or something. Someone like some guy just challenging himself, like, I'm going to try to find 1 minute in a movie that just encapsulates the entire movie.
And then, I think
Returns.
The Fast and Furious series would be really interesting with that, because you'd pick some interesting minutes where you're like, you get it, and you'd be like, I kind of do. They said family, and they started a race. Like, I got it.
Sorted.
Right.
But yeah, because we're pretty much at the end of the minute here. We usually on a Friday we'll always ask the guests about their history with the film and stuff. So do you have any fond memories of Batman Returns, Omar? Was it an integral part of your growing up, or is it just like, oh, I only watched it like yesterday?
That's such a good question. I don't remember specifically when I watched this film, but my friends and I were very much into the first two Batman films, or the Burton Batman films, I should say. Yeah. And I feel like I came back to this after getting really into the animated series. So I can't place, it's so interesting. I can't place like when I first saw it, but I remember being like so addicted to how creepy it was, of being like, oh my gosh, the penguin really scares me. But then being like, all right, roll it back. Let's watch it again.
We sound like we're the same person here. That's exactly why I liked it.
Just so eerie and so sad and so desperate and so angry. There was just a lot going on that as a kid I really enjoyed. And I feel like I even rooted for the penguin. Like I knew that penguin was the bad guy, but I was just like, I really like that.
Well, we should probably depart once more into the dark, dark night. One final time, Omar, would you like to tell everyone where they can find you and all your wonderful shows and whatnot?
Absolutely. You can find me at Omar Najam on Twitter, as well as Omar Najam Film on Instagram. Omar Has Fun on Spotify, where I put up recommendations that are tandem or in tandem to the show Popular Music that I host with my friend Annalise Nelson, where we talk about pop songs and their histories and break down the sort of music theory behind them. And I recently wrapped up Thank You for Questing, which was an improvised RPG show, so you can find those anywhere podcasts are available. And you can also find me at my friend Jessica's wedding, where we lied to the DJ and said that her favorite song of all time was Kissed by a Rose.
Yes.
So the DJ at the very end of the night said, all right, this goes out to the bride. Your favorite song of all time. Here it is on your special night. And played Kissed by a Rose. And Jess turned to us and had the most quizzical look on her face. And went, what? And it was the greatest thing in the world.
Yes.
We were so proud of ourselves.
Who doesn't love that song? Come on.
I'm assuming she was saying what, and a more like, how did you know this was my favorite song?
How did you know? It's like, because it always is.
Yeah. It's everyone's favorite song. Come on.
And so, yeah, those are all the places that you can find me.
Well, do check all of those out, everybody.
Yes.
And message us on Facebook at the Bat Minute Listeners Cave. That's the fun secret group. It's not really secret. You just have to let one of us approve you to join. It's fine. We'll approve you. We're nice. We're very lax doormen. We'll let you in. Just grease our palms a little bit, and you're allowed. And we're on Twitter at BatMinute, Instagram. Yeah, look us up on iTunes and everything. Give us a review. That's always lovely. And buy a T-shirt, buy a mug, buy a phone case, buy a pillow, or whatever the hell you want. Don't even have to buy anything Bat Minute related. Just go buy stuff. Spend your money. Whatever. Capitalism. Yay. And join us again next week. We'll be back on Monday with more Bat Minute returns. It'll be minute 112. Somehow. We're getting there, folks. It's nearly over. That's upsetting. See you then.
Next time, whips ahoy. There's liberation for a simian-swiddling skunk until a lower leg lash forces him into a sewer-swill dunk. But what underwater weaponry will be desperately grasped at to tip the scales when the petrified plutocrat re-encounters a callous cat? Find out next time. Same Bat Pod, different Bat Minute.